And today we're going to discuss Money Matters Part 2, and I would love for Capital Moments to introduce themselves. So please tell us your name and your age.
Name and age, I thought it was in
I'm going to ask you that.
I'm buzzing, you know, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, you're joined here today by Capital Moments.
If you haven't already, make sure you click the video to watch our previous episode. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Transcript. My name is Margaret. Thank you for joining me on another episode. I am so excited to have very special guests on the show with me. And today we're going to discuss Money Matters Part 2. And I would love for Capital Moments to introduce themselves.
We're a social enterprise that promotes commercial awareness to young people, students, graduates and young professionals. We do this through a number of different mediums. Mainly our website, where we allow young people to talk about politics, finance, business, economics. We also are quite prominent on social media, particularly Twitter. So you'll see us all talking about general news that's happening. Recently you've seen the UK election. Obviously last year we saw Brexit. We also host a number of events. So I recently did an event last year about helping young people get on the property ladder. We did that in association with Barclays, and as of recent, we also did an additional event focused entirely on managing your money. So that would be interesting to kind of share these views with you guys today. My name is Lex, I'm 25. We've also got to my right.
I'm Ade, I'm also 25.
I'm Josie, I'm also 25. I'm mostly interested in like personal finance, so like literally the day-to-day basics of how people, individuals manage their money, or specifically how we as young people can invest our money, because I find that quite often young people, especially young black people, we don't want to take risks with our money, which is completely understandable.
I guess I kind of see money as capital, so it's like I see it as a tool. So I think a lot of people see money as a means to an end, and I think that's probably why people do have budgeting issues, because they have the money and then they see what they want to purchase with it, or they know like I can now buy X, Y, Z, instead of seeing money as this tool that you can use either to regenerate itself or to facilitate what you need.
So essentially, my avid interests are in personal finance, trying to understand how you can better manage your money on a day-to-day and kind of use it to, as they said, reach your goals.
What do you think are the main issues that young adults face when trying to steward their finances?
I think it's, first of all, the reality of the world that we live in.
Yeah.
Inflation far outweighs salary. So of course the relative cost of things to salaries has been massively skewed for years. At first, essentially, you're starting off almost on a negative.
Okay, in what way?
So basically, you have your living costs that are incredibly high, you have your just general day-to-day costs that are very high. And if we take the principle that your necessities should only be a third of your income, most people have necessities that are at 60-70% of their income. So then where's the room to save?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And obviously just other external factors, such as obviously the superficial environments that we live in, and like the hyper-materialistic elements of that. But it's not helped by the simple fact that you're from the start placed in a situation that doesn't facilitate saving.
I also think it's a mindset thing though, because even if you're not earning that much and your necessities are 60% of your income, you can still try to save 5%, 1%, 2%. Every little helps, and I think sometimes young people especially, we want to be earning a certain amount and have enough money in our account where when we spend this amount of money we still have this amount left to start saving. But it shouldn't be like numbers.
So 20, 30 years ago, if you went to university, you just started working at 18, you didn't have debt from going to university.
Yeah.
Just looking at house prices, we know 20, 30 years relative to salary, they were a lot cheaper. So it was a lot easier just to go out and get your own home and get yourself on a property ladder. And property is such a incredible asset to own, in the sense of it just trebles your wealth in certain instances. So having the opportunity from a young age compared to before is definitely not what it is now. And also going on to kind of the whole social pressures we face, like young people, there was no Instagram, there was no Twitter, there was no any other social media platform you can think of 20, 30 years ago. So having to fulfill and kind of support those pressures and having to make sure your life looks like you've already got it set or you've already made it to that extent is what's kind of making people spend more than they have. So those two kind of factors are kind of pushing young people in the middle and squeezing them.
So you guys have said that, but we are in a lot of debt. Like, aren't we fighting an impossible battle?
I think it completely depends on your definition of debt. So I don't think of my student loan as, like, I barely think about my student loan because it's not, well, it's real debt, but the government are not going to come and knock on my door one day and go, pay all of this tomorrow. I know if I lose my job tomorrow, the government will stop taking their money after like, what, 40 years? Is it 40 or 20 years? I don't know.
I agree with somewhat what you're saying. The kids going to university now are paying 9k. They don't have the maintenance grant, so when they leave university, they've got circa 50k debt. That's when it's a real issue. So if you get a fairly standard graduate job, you're going to be paying that back straight away. In the first instance, it's like it's nothing. It's probably between 50 to 100 pounds every month. But cumulatively, over a number of years, that kind of counterweighs against you financing a deposit for a home. The joys of going an extra holiday a year, that kind of takes that away. So it's like it decreases your standard of living. So it does have a count.
Do you actually, like, do you feel it?
That's the thing. I'm not that's me personally, but I know the generation below us that are paying 9k, they're feeling it.
When you look at what PAYE, let's just cap it off at 250, just say that's your starting PAYE, right? Then you have your national insurance contributions, that's about another 100 probably. So then if you then add a student loan on top, that's basically doubling national insurance. So basically student loan is a tax almost. So it's a tax we could do without. But then when you talk about actual debt, so stuff like financing cars is very popular these days because no one wants to pay the depreciation of a new car. So obviously you have those costs involved. They have really attractive graduate credit cards or graduate overdrafts. So you're essentially being introduced into a cycle of credit because obviously our financial system runs on credit, and that's the problem because when you have people that are not particularly educated about the system itself, they're then thrown into the deep end, and it's literally just a revolving door of people coming in and just getting caught and trapped into the cycle. However, no battles are possible, right? It just then becomes about weaponry, as we're going to continue the analogy, right?
Yeah. So that's nothing should know it. I guess the battle of that.
Exactly. So you
get your tools of financing less.
As much as we might complain about our condition, in our modern condition, they didn't have cryptocurrency 20-30 stuff like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Veritasium, loads of different types of Bitcoin. Of course, those are investment opportunities. There's risks attached to them, but I think what Ethereum in January was $8 a coin. As of last week, it was something like 250 quid per coin. So when those investment opportunities exist, so basically you just have to, I guess, apply the age-old principles to now try and find opportunities where they exist.
Okay, so guys, help me out. Like, name 3 major pitfalls that we as young adults need to address.
Delayed gratification.
Explain.
That's something
100%.
Yeah, so I would be a hypocrite not to say that I am a big victim. I'm not a victim, I don't know if that's the word, but I'll keep that word. No. It's a problem that we all face going on from what you said earlier about the rise of social media and having all these extra pressures and being wanting to look like you've made it before you even started, right? So 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds still in university, going out getting brand new BMW 2 Series on finance. It's like, yo, hold on a second, you're using your student loan for that? Like, it's that kind of thing because they wanna look like they've made it already. They haven't even started. They actually are not earning anything. So it's that kind of thing. I think it's a cultural thing. That's our inability to delay our gratification.
On that, I would say short-sightedness because a lot of us think about the now. When if you're in your 20s, you still have a good 50, 60 years to go. So if you're spending every single penny that you have now, what happens when you hit 50? What happens when you hit 60 and you need that money? And you're not as strong as you used to. You can't roam the streets the way you used to. You can't do the double shifts. People don't think that far, they just think about now. I want this now, I want that BMW now. But okay, so you're paying for all of that. When you're 35, you start off with a BMW. So when you're 35, what are you driving?
And you're a BMW?
Wow! Wow! No, but like obviously, things happen. Honestly, things happen, and people don't think about emergency funds. They don't think about their pension. which is a major thing. You need to be thinking about your pension because you need to be saving for that now. So there's a lot of short-sightedness with our generation.
I find it was a personal attack.
No shade. But, if you receive the shade,
Well, I agree with what Josie said to a degree, in a sense that we've got a long time to live, right? So why are you kind of trying to push things so early? And when you look at just averages, for example, your highest earning age is going to be in your 40s, typically for males anyways. But one of the pitfalls I do kind of foresee for us, for example, is just the times we're in compared to prior years. For example, when we talk about the baby boomer generation, so people at the moment over their 50s, 60s, when they came into the world of work, better opportunities were there for them. They could literally get a job and have that same job for 30, 40 years. Whereas now, for example, by the time you're like, we're all 25, by the time we're 25, I think the average number of jobs you probably had already is 3.
yeah.
And that's amazing when you think people could have left school at 18 and had the same job for 50 years and now already had 3 jobs in 6 years. It's crazy.
I've definitely had more, but yeah.
Right, man, like, I'm only at 3 still. But anyway, now, but obviously to that point, just the times we're in are very different to previous. So given that, that's a pitfall in itself. So we've got to battle harder to ensure we earn as much, to ensure we're investing as well as we can.
What are the basic principles for effective budgeting?
Like one thing I do, for example, is basically allocate your saving or spending once it comes in. A lot of people do it the opposite way. So they get paid at the end of the month, they spend all their money and they go, oh, what's left? Let me try to save what's left.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, as soon as, say for example, you get 3k in a month, and you say, right, I want to put 1k towards saving, and you put 1k towards possibly saving towards a holiday or towards your car, and then you put the other 1k on expenses, so travel, food, maybe money towards a mortgage if you own your own home, or money towards rent, or money towards supporting your family. When you allocate your finances like that, you can actually have an allocated spending amount for fun. So when you go out, you don't feel guilty. You don't have, you have those friends that are like, oh, shall I come with you to this motive today? I don't really know. It's like, bro, if you actually finance from the start, it means you're gonna actually not be guilty and be stress-free when you're going to that extra 9 hours after work, or you're going to someone's wedding and you've got a tie that should be last minute. If you're really if you really budget for that, then it's not going to be such an issue. So those are kind of the basics. Like as soon as you get your income in, or you understand your income from the start of the month, allocate it into different areas: expenses, investment, saving, and then fund.
So investment and saving.
Investment, the difference, we'll get into that a bit later. But saving essentially is any short-term things you want to spend your money on, in the sense of a deposit for a mortgage, or any kind of maybe short day, holiday, or a car. Whereas investing is for your long-term future. So you've got an horizon maybe 3, 4, 5 years plus, and you're not looking to touch that money at all.
Well, the first basic is there's suit and tie at home, so that I'll show you the wedding thing.
She's got a floss on them for the Instagram.
I have one black guinea and one white guinea that I just better than so you let me
You don't have that at all. You don't have that at all. It's not just for
I'm not Nigerian, so I know what actually.
Obviously the first thing is I picked up something actually online. I was on Twitter, the place of philosophers and
Oh, of course. Great way.
great minds. And I literally came across, it was an image of a spreadsheet, and somebody had created one, and they put 1 to 52 for each week of the year, and then they stuck in their birthday, they stuck in their partner's birthday, their mom's birthday, their dad's birthday, their siblings' birthdays. And they were like, okay, cool. Basically, any important milestones that you know can happen during the year, you stick them in whatever week they are. And then what they did was they started small. So week 1, they had £10. Week 2, 15. Week 3, 20. Week 4, 25. And literally, when they got to something important like their partner's birthday, they scaled right back down again. So that's first of all building the habit and the conscious. It becomes it's a routine, it becomes part of you. Yeah. So it's my 4th year now of working in the city, and I have obviously every single Friday drinks. You work in the city, so lunch is £7 to £10 every day, and you have to start looking. You have to start looking and starting to realise, hold on a second, like Mum said when I was a child, there is actually rice at home. Do you know,
when you pass McDonald's,
so when I pass Prep, when I pass Leon, there is actually rice at home. So then I started adopting that, and literally the amount of money that I spent needlessly drops.
Yeah.
So when you work out what your necessities are and what your savings amounts are and all that kind of stuff, you also have to, in your necessities, because a lot of us think that certain things are necessary. So I would like, okay, I'm going to budget £200 on travel because that's necessary. I need to get to places. How much of that £200 is really necessary? Probably 150 of it. I used to spend about £120 on fuel every single month. Now I probably spend something like 60. So that's a big, that's a massive cost. Sometimes you can actually stay at home. So obviously, you know, you budget your food amount for the month. You're like,
your message as well.
That's why such as empty. Yeah, but it's stuff like food, right? It was like, okay, I'm gonna I'll just put 100 on food. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? Like I bring my lunch in, I'm saving £8 a day, you know what I'm saying? So then if it like the other day when I just decided, you know what, I just want to go and floss, I went to Zuccotti in Fleet Street. I went to floss and spent £7, but I was happy because you know what, I've been cooking every day for the past month, you know what I'm saying?
Even from what you said, let's break it down. Let's say someone earns 1,650. Let's
not say 1K. 1K is
The math that you want us to do.
1,000 is indivisible. I said 1, 6.
I was like, I just want me to do the math.
So I thought you guys had it like that, but anyway.
And you do to me. I'm good at mental maths. But
So help us understand what to do. Let's say someone earns 1,500. What should they do? Savings. Let's just kind of guess their expenditure.
Yeah. Well, if you do like me, you do the minimum. Okay, I don't do the minimum because.
So I have 1,500, yeah, 700 bills. I have 800 left.
Yeah.
All right. Am I really going to turn up that much? It's winter. It's December. No, it's November, right? So maybe I only go out two bills.
Yeah.
So that means after that I've got 600 left. The 600 for that month I'll save. So that's how I'll do it. So I'll try to see it in the sense of after expenses, because you always have to pay your bills every month, right?
Yeah.
After that, you can decide how much you want to turn up a month. That's a variable. You can kind of decide to go up and go down. Saving, you want to keep that at like a fixed amount, and then maybe in sentences at an incremental amount or not. So you can have a base. You could, for example, have a base minimum saving for 500. When the turn up is small, add an extra 100.
Wow.
When the turn up is down, it goes up 100, but always ensure you don't turn up so much that it goes below your minimum saving amount. So that's how I kind of go along with it. So it ensures I'm always hitting my end of year like targets. So 500 times 12, you're gonna save 6K, right? So then obviously if there's any kind of issues that in some months you're actually below the 6K target, you add a bit more, so you turn up less. So it's always kind of making sure we're in that area.
People say like really good numbers. If you're saving less than 500, it's actually okay.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to get into your head is that you shouldn't be turning up £800 worth if that's what you want. And there are times where you're going to go below your minimum because something's going to happen. You can't legislate for what life will throw at you. But it's just a case of being able to, when it's like with a country, right? They say that the time that a country should be saving its money is when it's in the time of boom. So say for instance you sell oil, right? And oil prices dip. When oil prices are high, that's when your country should be saving money. Because once oil prices dip, you have no revenue, right?
To Nigeria.
Yeah, I'm sending from Nigeria, seriously. But whereas they do the opposite. So when oil prices are high, they're now spending, price crashing out of recession. So it's the same thing. When times are good, you have to, restrain yourself small by small. But the thing, you do have a problem with restraint in every aspect of our lives, man. Everyone's addicted to their devices, and it manifests itself, I think, in our financial behaviour. Because, to be honest, like, if you think of stuff like dating, that's facilitated by money.
So did you say dating?
Yeah, dating.
Oh,
dating. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's facilitated by money, right?
Yeah.
So if you use something from a guy's perspective.
So if you guys are like, what?
Yeah. Even if you lot are spending because you think about it,
Parents not cheap, makeup not cheap.
So we will have those expenses, right? So if you're overindulging in those areas, it's going to hit you financially.
Okay, so what would you say to the person who feels like they genuinely do not earn enough, therefore they can't budget or save?
I mean, I think so if your bills and expenses, so if your income and expenditure or necessary expenditure is absolutely equal,
Yeah.
you're probably the best budgeter in the world already.
Yeah, it's true.
You find those that aren't in a position to save, and every single thing has to be paid for.
Yeah.
Very good budgeters.
Yeah.
But then the issue then becomes when they then start earning more, and then they now, okay, I have it now, and because their condition made it necessary. There are people that genuinely, that's your situation. There's nothing to do about that.
Yeah.
It then becomes a case of that, by God's grace, that situation is going to change. Like life is transient. So it then becomes a case of when I'm no longer in that situation, I still need to be able to choose to budget and not be driven by necessity. But the young boys don't be spending money on, girls for no reason, and that kind of stuff, man.
There is always a
What do you
reason.
mean for no reason?
There is always a reason.
Basically, do not get finessed by girls who are not looking to essentially spend their money on you, but spend them same time and effort. Because a guy might express his time and effort through spending money. They might do it through time, energy, love, or whatever they want to call it, right? So you want to be with someone who's going to do the same for you, whereas guys are getting finesse in sentences where girls are just making them pay for stupid amounts of things.
So anyone who requires a relationship advice, this is your man.
Is it really?
What steps can I take to develop a savings plan?
So for my masters, I knew how much I needed. I don't want to be doing any part-time work, so I made sure that I had a number in my head that I needed to get to. Got serious about saving up before my masters. It was very strict. It was like I cut up my Amex. I literally just went, I need to save this amount every month, and then if I have money extra, I save. Oh, and I also made sure I got really good accounts, so I didn't want to just save and then have my money there not earning any interest. So I just made sure that everything that where I put my money was going to be earning me good interest that I could use later. So little things like doing the new current account switch transfer that gives you like £100. There's different banks that do that. HSBC, First Direct. They give you £100 for just switching. Stuff like rate setters, £100 bonus. I used all of those things in mind, and then using a fixed term bank account. So I knew that I can't take my money out unless I won't get the interest. So if I put my money in there for a year every month, at the end of the year I'm going to get a certain amount of interest, and that will collate and be part of my savings plan. Savings goal.
So what does that look like? Let's say I put £200 in my savings account. How much roughly?
So it depends on the account. First Direct were offering it for 6%. I think now it's dropped to 5%. And you have to have your money in for a year. And it's a regular savings. So every month you can put up to £250. So let's say you put 250. You can put less. Well, let's say you put 250 every month. At the end of the year, you get whatever that amounts to.
So 6% of the 250.
No, so it's 6%.
6% of the final total.
So that's the thing. It's not 6% of your final total. It's 6% of whatever was in the account each month. So it won't be, if you do like 3,000 and you do 6% of that, that's not how much you're gonna get. You're gonna get 6% of whatever was in the money, 250, 500, blah blah blah, until the end. Yeah, most bank accounts give you nothing. I'm really into fintech, so look at tools like Monzo, because I think it's very easy for us to say budget, but if you don't know where your money's going, you can't actually budget. You're like, okay, yeah, I want to budget, but I don't actually know how much I spend every month. Monzo is good for that. It's a digital bank, it's a challenger bank. Basically, it's an app, and everything's done on mobile. So you send you a card. Now, at the moment, you have to pay in, so you have to put £300, transfer £300 from your account onto the card, and then use that card, but it tracks your spending, and then it gives you a nice little graph of where your money's gone that month.
Quite a few banks as well do it natively, like Lloyds I think does that.
Okay, yes, that's
I
good.
think Barclays now do it for you as well. Yeah, so saving is essentially a habit. You start being realistic with yourself. Start off small. It's like going to the gym. You can't bench 100 straight away. Same way you can't be saving £1,000 straight away. Because the reality of it is, especially with technology, if you save too much, you're going to go back into your savings.
Exactly.
It's like having a diet, right? Where you starve yourself. You didn't need to starve yourself, therefore you're going to overdo it when you come to a diet. So it's same principle with stuff like saving and budgeting stuff.
And a good thing to do is to make sure your savings account is like separate from the account that you use, your current account, and on the same app. I could just easily just transfer. And I'll tell myself, oh yeah, next month I'll just put it back. But next month comes, exactly, the money isn't going back. So make sure it's completely separate. And what's good about the fixed fixed term savings account is that because you know you won't get the interest rate, or they tend to give you a penalty, you're not going to take your money. So your money's locked for that specific term, and that way, you know, okay, you're saving it, there's nothing you can do, you can't touch it. You have to find other means to finance whatever you want to finance. So.
Big question, how do I generate passive income?
No, so essentially, one thing I always recommend to people is Nutmeg. So Nutmeg are a revolutionary and kind of new company who have tried to make investing easier for people. So essentially, democratizing the investment process and procedure. So typically, when you think of kind of investing, you think, okay, I have to be a millionaire. But essentially, what they've done is made it cheaper. So I think at present, you can start off with a fund starting from, is it £500 or? Yeah. You can start off with a fund of £500, and then you can invest a minimum of £100 per month. And then you go through a kind of series of tests, and kind of they put in certain scenarios to kind of put together a risk profile for yourself, and they advise what types of investment vehicles you can invest in. But essentially, all you do is pick a number from 1 to 10. 10 being the most risky, 1 being the least risky, and you can invest your money in these funds, and they'll, on your behalf, invest your money for you, and they won't guarantee you a return. So if you've got that patience, you will see passive income. So I started a fund with Nutmeg at the start of 2015, and since that period I've seen a return of around £800. And that's clean £800 money I can take out. And what I also kind of talk about is RateSetter. So RateSetter doesn't give you the best of returns, but it's a very interesting platform in terms of its kind of new school. So RateSetter is a peer-to-peer lending platform. So it allows you to borrow money essentially to small businesses and individuals. And RateSetter just acts as a kind of medium platform. So you on this side are an investor, you put your money into the platform, and then they go and lend it onto these small businesses and individuals. And they don't guarantee you a return in the same sense as Nutmeg, but you can basically put a minimum rate of return you'd like on your money. And the rate they offer are around 3.9% anywhere to 5%. So they're not the best in the market considering the risk you're taking, but one of the good things is once you open an account, they do offer quite a beneficial bonus scheme. So anyone else that jumps on the scheme, the bonus is anywhere between £50 to £100. So imagine if you put £500 in, and then you get £100 straight back on your money. That's 20% return, literally in 1 day, 2 days without doing nothing. So that's a great platform to use as well.
Like Nutmeg's amazing, I love it, but there's other like Money Farm. If you can't commit to putting money in every month, you can use Money Farm because you don't have to put a direct debit. You can just put in a lump sum.
Like I mentioned earlier on, like little investment opportunities like cryptocurrency. You essentially have to see what opportunities exist now that are brand new, in the same way that in the 70s or when Apple was brand new and it didn't cost anything to invest in, and now that's a multi-billion-dollar company, right, or trillion-dollar company now even. So you basically have to look for the Apples of the next generation. So start basically doing the stuff that you probably pay somebody else to do, or rely on someone else to do. But
do you do cryptocurrency?
Yeah. So the other day I woke up mad because I found out one that I really like dropped to about 10 pence because there was something that happened in the market, and they jumped right back up to like £200 again. They're like, it was mad.
You need to teach me.
So that kind of thing. But again, that literally is something that I've only opened my eyes up to recently. When I was in uni, that's when Bitcoin just came out. And Bitcoin is now what, $2,500 dollars a coin. And back then Bitcoin was what, $9 when I was in uni.
And what about ISAs? Not many people know about the different opportunities that the government are offering. So what type of ISAs would you guys suggest?
So ISAs, individual savings accounts, basically they're not actually a product in itself. What the government is basically doing is they're saying everyone's allowed to save a certain amount, 20,000, without tax on your interest. So normally, when you get interest on any account, you're actually supposed to pay tax. Before, it used to come out, but now the rules have changed. But if you open an ISA, you know that what you're going to get in interest is all yours. They're not going to tax it. Most places offer, most banks offer a cash ISA, so you have the option of putting your money in a cash ISA. You have the option of putting your money in a stocks and shares ISA. There's a help to buy ISA. trying to remember them at the top of my head. And then there's a new one.
Lifetime.
Yeah, the Lifetime is the new one, Lisa. And then there's the new one with Rate Center, which is called the Innovative ISA. That's it. So that's for peer-to-peer lending, and it's really new. Not a lot of people offer it. I don't even think Rate Center offer it yet, but I know that they're planning to. So you do have options. I know a lot of people did go into Help to Buy ISA. That is ending next year.
You have a capital amount you're allowed to put in every single month, and then at the end of it, the government pays the solicitors that handle your home purchase a particular percentage of whatever that total balance is at the end.
Yeah.
But the good thing about the Help to Buy ISA is certain banks and other kind of business sites, the ISAs they offer on the Help to Buy scheme, you earn interest during the interim period, and the interest you earn is higher than your general market rate. So for example, when I opened my Help to Buy ISA December 2015 with Halifax, the interest they were paying was 4%, and that was better than any kind of general ISA or any general current account. Exactly, and people don't realise that you can actually use that interest even if you don't choose to buy a home. I put money in December 2015, and then you get paid interest annually. So in December 2016, I earned £100 just in a year, which is quite a good return on the current account. So
that's really good.
It's a decent affair, and it's risk-free to an extent because you're investing it with a high brand bank, and it comes under the scheme, financial compensation scheme. So if you do lose your money, the government will return your money. It's great.
So, final tips and tricks.
Read a couple moments. Maybe.
Read a couple moments. Read my blogs.
100.
And there are loads of apps that are coming up that their whole aim is to just help people save more and to just manage their finances better. So look out for them. And all these challenger banks, you don't have to bank with a high street bank. You can bank with a digital bank.
Another tip: listen to this twice or 3 times.
Yeah.
I think a few nuggets have been dropped here and there.
Definitely, it's true.
So
I've learned some
back,
stuff.
So we'll probably go back a couple of times and listen back to what we did here first time.
I agree.
You stay disciplined. So like even me, for example, this summer's probably been the most difficult one. Because I've hit 25, a lot of my age mates are getting married or engaged. So there's a lot more kind of events to go to in that regard. Also stay disciplined. But if you've got a target, make sure you aim towards that target and then have fun afterwards.
Okay guys, thank you so much for joining me. Like I really enjoyed gaining knowledge from you guys about what to do generally with finances. And I hope you guys do. I hope you guys take notes. And thank you very much once again for joining us, and stay tuned for our next episode. Okay, help me out guys. Please name 3 major, okay, can I speak? Can I just,
Want some water? Want some water?
Keep that in.
Okay, right. Okay. Why are you laughing?
What's the question, bro?
Okay, so.
But yeah, so it's 700 if you add that to your 500. So where are we now? If we
1200.
No,
So 700 plus 500, that's 1200. Don't even try it.
She said minus.
Let's start again, though. 1500. Let's start again. Big man, let's start again. You start with 1500, right? Say, for example, there was a 700. So you have 800 left, right?